Yo, hello, it's Unicorn Hole. Welcome to the very second episode of Down the Unicorn Hole, show where I interview or chat with people who are awesome and at least vaguely related to the channel. Today's guest is certainly related to the channel. He's been mentioned on the channel before. It is Stephen Dunn of Got Item. How you doing, man?
Doing well. Burning in California, but other than that, things are going pretty good.
Very good. So I just wanted to say first, Got Item is awesome. I'm a big fan, been a fan for a while. And I'm going to pay you a weird compliment. I think that on the ratio of music released to respect in the community, you've hit this magic thing where, you don't have a huge catalog, but no one who likes Nintendocore doesn't know Got Item. So I think that just speaks to how curated your selection is.
I definitely agree. I think I've always been more of a quality over quantity type of act. And for some reason, I think I could write a book at this point, just like the art of making one EP and staying relevant for 5 years.
Yeah, it's impressive, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, well, let's start at the beginning. Tell me about the creation of the project.
Yeah, so God Item was kind of an act that was created out of frustration. I know you and I kind of actually came from similar backgrounds. I was a bassist in a couple of local bands with some close friends. And, I was always playing in, I don't know about this part applying to you necessarily, but I was always playing in genres that didn't necessarily feel right for me personally as a songwriter. I was always into heavier stuff. And whenever I would try to bring in that type of material, it always get kind of pushed away to the side. So it was created out of frustration just as a solo project. When I came across Nintendocore for the second time, I kind of got an interest in making it. First time was back in high school. I heard Horse the Band and I heard I Am Error, and it did not stick at all.
Okay.
I was like, this is kind of garbage, honestly. But after a while, it just after I got more exposed to the genre, became something I kind of wanted to do to get all that pent up frustration of not being able to write heavy music out. And it just started off with me writing stuff in Guitar Pro 5, which is still kind of how I operate, kind of an archaic process. And then just working with some people in the scene to kind of help me get it to where I wanted to get it. Zach Frovel, or Zachary Wayne, formerly A Walk the Golgotha, currently Moonside.
Yes.
He helped me kind of get the ball rolling with Got Item for those first few tracks. So yeah, between frustration and Zach Frovel, that's how it came to be way back in 2013.
2013. Okay, cool. You mentioned that I was playing bass for a bunch of local bands. The way this is supposed to go is that I've researched you and know things. It's not a two-way. You need to cut that out.
You know it?
Yeah. Any particular reason for Got Item as a band name?
I just kind of wanted to stick with that trend of having a video game reference for a Nintendocore project title. So I started thinking of games that always kind of stuck with me. When I was a youngin', I would play a lot of Mario Party by myself.
Okay.
Kind of like the loneliest form of Nintendo gameplay is playing single player Mario Party.
That's your tragic backstory.
Yeah, that's my tragic.
Yeah.
my villain backstory.
Yeah, I was about to say, we're lucky you turned out as a hero then.
Right?
Yeah.
But no, it's just one of those broken English Got Item. It would be screeching at you whenever you'd win an item mini game and Mario Party 2. And for some reason, just having an exclamation point to me screamed I play breakdown music. Okay. So I kind of just rolled with that.
Yeah, okay. I like it. That makes sense. So you're self-titled in 2015 is your earliest official release, right?
Yeah, I'd say official. There are a couple of demos, I think, that are on YouTube.
Okay.
But in terms of actual releases that I put out on Bandcamp and stuff like that, that's as early as it goes.
Okay. So there are demo work in progress things floating around out there?
Some are out there. And I've considered putting out a small compilation of just a bunch of older demos. Mm-hmm. I just didn't feel like the interest was quite there. And it also feels weird to be here's an EP. Also, here's a bunch of work in progresses. I need to have a bit more that bridge in between,
Well, I mean, a lot of artists in the scene just only put out demos and works in progress.
Touche.
So, it's the Nintendocore thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any particular fun facts or stories about that EP?
The whole reason that the EP kind of came to exist was because I got involved in the Sacramento Super Smash Brothers scene and befriended a guy named Zachary Bruno. he was in a video game metal band. They don't call themselves Nintendocore, but video game metal band called the Brotherhood of Ellipses. And that's how I came across his brother, Anthony Bruno, aka Anty, which is what everyone calls him. But so if I call him Anty, that's who he is, Anthony Bruno.
Okay.
And he's who I continue to work with to this day with production. He does really good sound design. He does it professionally. So without me kind of opening up with him, his brother, Jacob Martinez, who was also in that band, I don't think I ever would have made the step from like that Nintendocore demo type stuff into actual, I want to make this a good sound and release. So just kind of meeting those guys is pretty much the whole reason that EP exists.
Okay. So that's the 2 years then from 2013 to 15, I guess.
Yeah, somewhere in between there. I think like 2014, early 2014, I met them.
Okay. And so you were playing Smash competitively at the time?
Trying.
Which one?
I'm not very good at Smash.
In 14, what would that, Brawl or?
So for me, it was a mix of Melee and Project M when 3.0 came out.
Well, who do you main?
So I'm a dumbass.
Wait,
and I main.
Let me guess.
I main Yoshi.
I was gonna say Yoshi. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I feel like that's-
fan.
Yeah, I was never quite as technical as Ansa, but there was a guy named Vector Man who was a bit more like fundamental. I would watch a lot of his videos.
Okay.
And then, yeah, with Project M, I tried to do like Lucas and Ness as well, but I was just never too deep into it to the point where I would just maybe go like 1 and 2 in tournaments.
Well, it's better than I've done. So
It's hard not to go 0 and 2, honestly.
yeah.
People
Well,
are
haven't worked up the courage to actually go. So
yeah.
having a record is better than not, I guess. But are there any clips floating around anywhere of any matches, or it was all just?
There might be. If there are, I don't know where they are now. I know I was on stream a few times at a few events.
Okay.
I think there's a stream of me beating my friend Zach Bruno when he was playing Diddy Kong. I was kicking his ass as Yoshi.
That needs to be dug up. That's good stuff.
I think my name at the time was Dabes, Dabes, the best, because I was the best.
All right.
But
I like it.
yeah, it might be out there somewhere.
Okay. Have to dig for that. So you saw that EP also on like Game Boy flash carts?
I did. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I wanted to do more traditional releases, but just between finances and like not really knowing the interest, I ended up doing a run of 16 Game Boy carts. And I sold them for very cheap, considering how much effort it took to make that shit.
So wait, that was the economic choice?
Kinda. I don't know. I just wanted something that stood out because I remember I saw Corey from Zombie Shark had done like a school project where he did a Game Boy flash cart for like a fictional action figure or something. I'm sorry if I don't remember that correctly, but
that sounds right. Yeah.
That inspired me. I was like, oh damn, that could be an actual medium for releasing music. And with something like this, I feel like it's something I know would sell. I know people would like. I know it's kind of both coveted and like very rare in the scene. And I do have my own copy. I actually made 17. So the one I own is actually copy 17 of 16, and it's the only one that's on a clear cartridge, not on black or gray.
Yeah. When I saw those, not back then, but later when I saw those, I was like, oh, damn, I wish I had gotten one. That is super, super awesome.
Yeah. I wish I would make more, but maybe one.
If you do, you'll sell at least one guaranteed. No.
Profit.
So you actually write like I do. Your lyrics are from the perspective of video game characters, which I feel like is a Nintendocore trope that some people do and some people don't bother with. But so I guess why did you lean into that? And what is your writing process when you know you're going to be writing like as a specific character?
So when it comes to my lyrics, it's a little bit of that, a little bit of more personal stuff, especially with the earlier stuff. I was trying to kind of stick with how Pete Bunk would do it, which is like, you know, this is vaguely inspired by video games, but it's also could be taken as a completely serious, more emotional song, I guess. So all the stuff on the EP, other than like maybe personally I prefer the air, is actually me doing a forced perspective where I'm writing things that are completely personal, but I try to match it up with the way that a video game character might feel. So, for example, in No Sanctuary, which is a song that many people don't really talk about, but No Sanctuary, one of my favorites, that was No Sanctuary, four friends united in sorrow.
That's right.
That one's actually about a struggling relationship between a son and father, which, I can't relate to very strongly, but there is something, slightly there. So I was like, what type of video game character might have the same feelings? So I kind of leaned a bit more toward Earthbound with that one, for example. And then another super easy example of kind of how I would approach things, like Far From Super Happy, which is about, Yoshi fighting his friends.
Right.
That's kind of what it's about, is just a fallout between friendship. And, that's a personal lyrics. I was being completely honest when I wrote those. But between, the samples and the sounds and just the overall theme of Yoshi, people kind of see it at face value and they're like, oh yeah, it's about Yoshi not wanting to beat up Mario.
Right.
But I'm also like, I'm hurting on the inside.
Okay. I like that. That's really cool way to go about that then. So that you're kind of doing both basically. Being able to write personal stuff and then also have the video game context there to make sure you're true, XNCX. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So then after that EP was the Simple and Clean cover, Symbols and Screams.
Symbols and Screams.
Big Kingdom Hearts fan, I assume.
So that's another fun fact. I'm actually not that big into Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, okay.
So the reason why we went with that is because me and my friend Jacob Martinez, who for a while was not only helping with kind of like production with me and Auntie, but he was my live guitarist. We were running out of ideas because like at that time I only had the EP stuff to perform live. So I was like, shit, we need to have something else to kind of fill in some space so we can kind of get into like that 20-25 minute point where we can play live shows.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, let's do a cover, but I don't want to just stand there like an idiot. I already do that half the set anyway. So we started thinking about video game covers that have lyrics. And I did love Kingdom Hearts 1. That's the one that I played all the way through like a couple of times. Kingdom Hearts 2, I like started and finished. Kingdom Hearts 3, but yeah, so it was between that and Pumpkin Hill from Sonic Adventure 2.
Oh, wow.
And we went with Symbols and Screams.
Please go back and do Pumpkin Hill as well.
Oh God, I'd love to. But yeah, that's actually how Symbols and Screams came to be. The title itself, why it's called Symbols and Screams and not Simple and Clean, is because I wanted to try to put it on OC Remix, which it did end up doing. It's on there, but they don't take official titles. It has to be modified in some way.
Okay, so I saw your post about making it on OC Remix, but what is that?
So OC Remix is a video game music collective. It's like a website that's been around for early internet, so like early 2000s probably, where people do remixes of different video game songs. There's thousands and thousands of submissions. It goes through a judge panel review, which made me very nervous because I remember you could see like the forum where your song is getting reviewed and like there's like 5 people, I think, or 7. And it's an odd number. And they're just like, no, yes, this is cool. I think one guy was like, no, this is fucking horrible. But I had like just enough yeses to the point where people were like, okay, it makes it past. So yeah, it's just a collective where musicians of all different genres, metal, EDM. I think there's a couple of, rappers who have done stuff on there too, just like sampling.
Okay.
You can submit video game music and yeah.
Okay, cool. I did not know about that. About to check it out.
Hell yeah.
So no warm fuzzy feelings when Sora got in Smash then?
A little bit. At that point, everything that I wanted was already in Smash. All I wanted was Banjo. And once that happened, I was like, I don't really care at this point. You can put fucking
Steve.
Sure, put Steve in there. I'm not too huge into Minecraft, but like at that point, I was just like, you can do literally anything and I'll be happy because I got what I wanted. So if it makes anyone happy, good for them. I think Sora's a better choice than a lot of other characters that might have been left over. Yeah, pool is kind of narrow, and I still feel that way. Like if they do a new Smash, I don't know how or what that's gonna look like.
I feel like they should just port Ultimate Forever and just add like 2 or 3 characters.
Smash Bros. Ultimate Deluxe.
Yeah, there you go. Ultimate Deluxe.
Echoes of an Elusive Age.
Featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series.
Hell yeah. I'd buy it because I'm a fucking Nintendo shill.
Yep. Same. I mean, we can't.
You know how it is.
I was going to have a bit where I told you to explain the Kingdom Hearts timeline in 2 minutes or less.
Oh, shit.
But since you kind of noped out of the series, I guess I won't put you on the spot there.
Yeah, that would be a very rough time. It'd be a lot of me making shit up.
All right, cool. Kingdom Hearts fans, you get nothing.
You get nothing.
From either.
You already got the cover, so
look elsewhere.
Yeah, replay that shit.
So on the Smash 64 comp, you did, as you mentioned, Far From Super Happy, and you also had Touch Fuzzy Get Dizzy, which is a reference to Yoshi on your first EP. So did you lean into Yoshi because I'm assuming now, because you played Yoshi on Melee and/or Project M?
So yeah, I mean, Yoshi was always my main whenever I played Smash, but growing up, Yoshi was always my main whenever I could be Yoshi anywhere. I mean, like, you know, all the way back in Mario Kart, Mario Party, Smash, Mario Tennis, anything where I had the option to be Yoshi, I'd always go Yoshi. So I had, you know, I just, he's my favorite of the Mario series.
What's the best color Yoshi?
Oh, the best color Yoshi? I would always do dark blue.
Okay.
Not light blue, dark blue. Yeah, so, the reason why I would always stick with Yoshi is just because I've always loved him. I do have the Yoshi 3DS chilling back there. But yeah, that's really all it is just admiration for the character.
Is Touch Fuzzy Get Dizzy about Birdo?
So yes.
Okay.
Touch Fuzzy Get Dizzy was written as a weird, it was like a dare almost from Jacob Martinez. He was like, I bet you can't write a song about this. So I did. It was about Yoshi and Birdo.
Played it pretty straight too.
Yeah, looking back now, I kind of don't like the lyrics of Touch Fuzzy, and I have stopped playing it live because I'm just kind of like,
yeah.
Because I can see why it might be considered, you know, upsetting or offensive.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is absolutely what that song was written about.
Okay, I figured either that or Touch Fuzzy. I was like, is it about Bush? Like,
yeah. I could have done that, made it like a double entendre.
You can lean in that if you want to bring it back. You can redirect it in that direction.
Touch Fuzzy Part 2.
Yeah. There you go.
Yep.
All right. So Porcine Menace. Is that how you say that word?
Yep. Porcine Menace.
All right. So that was your track on the racing comp. Is Diddy Kong Racing better than Mario Kart?
Yes, it is. So I think Diddy Kong Racing is probably my personal favorite racing game. Up until Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I probably would have said that it's the best racing game of all time. I do think 8 Deluxe probably beats it just by amount of sheer content. But for me personally, I grew up with Diddy Kong Racing. To me, that soundtrack, you know, all David Wise's stuff is always awesome.
Oh yeah.
And just, I love banjo again. You know, Conker was in there way before I knew Conker even had that bad fur day. So I thought he was just a cute character. But yeah, no, I've always just kind of loved Diddy Kong Racing. I do think it's the best racing game of all time, but that's just, you know, my thoughts. I don't think it's actually probably the best.
I gotcha. Props for giving Mario Kart 8 its flowers. I feel like a lot of people won't say that a new game is the best just because.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You got to shit on the new one. You can't like the new one best. So I
feel like the nostalgia factor is okay if you're like taking your own favorites into perspective, but you got to be realistic. Like,
yeah. I think it's like a hot take, maybe, I don't know, but Odyssey is definitely my favorite 3D Mario.
I think Odyssey is kind of same situation. I think Odyssey is the best 3D Mario, but I don't know about my personal favorite. You know, I think Sunshine might be mine, which is kind of an unpopular opinion, kind of a hot take, but
it's weird how people have turned on that game over time.
I know. I thought it was badass when it came out. I was like, oh, this is sick. This game looks good. It feels good. Yeah. Hella cool. And then just kind of like with, side note, just Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. Like, at the time, I thought that game was badass. And then, like, the internet turned on it.
JonTron.
Yeah, thanks, JonTron. Like,
Yeah.
I thought it was a fine game.
I have never played it. I am a, you said Nintendo shill. I have only ever even owned Nintendo consoles. So, but my neighbor had it, so I watched most of the game, and it seemed, it was quirky. It was fun. It seemed like it had the spirit, at least, was there, if not the gameplay.
Yeah.
I saw where you had a demo 2016 unofficial, just like burnt discs that you were giving out. I just wanted to ask, was that just those versions of the songs were the same that you could get on Bandcamp, or were those like special versions or anything?
So those were just the versions straight from Bandcamp.
Okay.
I forget how many I made of those. I think in the 20s. But the reason why those existed is because all those beautiful Game Boy Flash cartridges sold out very quickly. And I was going to shows with like one shirt, that Skull Kid shirt for sale. And that's all I had. And I was just like, I got to have something to give people so I can like get a little bit more of a local following. So I just quickly bought a bunch of CDs and slapped together this little demo. I think I only sent out of the stack area maybe like 3 or 4, just to a few people. So they're around the US, but they're almost entirely here. One of them is extremely rare because I actually put no God Item music on it. I put Lil Yachty's first album on it.
Okay.
And just put it on the table. So someone out there has it. I don't know if they know it.
That I love that. That's excellent. It would break my heart if that person like got in their car and threw it in the glove box and never even listened to it. Because
right, it's like I wonder. No one ever came forward. I don't know who got it. So
maybe one day in like 100 years, someone will find it and put it in. It'll be like an ARG, and there'll be like 3-hour-long YouTube videos trying to get to the bottom of it.
It's like, damn, God Item had some really good rap back in 2016.
Yeah, why did his rap career suddenly switch gears into such a dead genre?
Right.
That's pretty great. I love that. All right, so also in 2016, you did guest vocals on HD Remakes 2 by me. So I just bring that up because, well, your vocals were awesome in it. Super, super raw. I love your vocals, and we sound very different. So good to have you on a song. And viewers, if you want to hear the two of us working together, that's where you can find that. And then also that year you were on Digital Sea by Zombie Shark, which is probably still my favorite of his stuff. I don't know why. His new stuff's good, but I just love that album. I always find myself going back to it. So are there any other guest features floating around that I missed?
So let me preface by saying I'm sorry if I don't remember that I did a guest feature for you, if you happen to be watching this and I don't name you. So I did the HD Remakes, Fables, which might honestly be one of my favorite features I ever did. I fucking love that song. I just listened to it like the other day just to remind myself, and it's still some of my favorite work that I've ever done.
Awesome.
It's just
I love that fun. You called me out on the dumbass lyrics at the end. It's very good.
Yeah. John, what the fuck are you on?
Yeah, which weren't my lyrics. That was
Facebook generated, right?
Yeah. I just told people to leave comments, and I just read their comments down the line for the lyrics. So yeah, that made for a great little outro to that song. So good stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, it was that one. I did work with She Wants the D-Pad. We did a Misfits cover.
Oh yeah.
What? Unfortunately, on the opposite end of, hey, that was my favorite work. Sorry, Chase, but I think I really dropped the ball on that Misfits cover.
Dig Up Her Bones.
Yep, Dig Up Her Bones by Misfits.
I remember liking it.
Oh,
I know. I bopped that one quite a few times. I didn't know the song before that. So.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. Okay.
Other than that, I did a feature with Micah from Shotgun Guy. I think it's Exit the Fucking Dragonfly. What's the name of the track? But I did some lyrics for Shotgun Guy. Not lyrics, vocals for Shotgun Guy. And then I did some vocals for a local band called Oh the Horror. They had like a mixtape they put out where they had guest features on every track, and they hit me up because me and them go way back to like 2008 from back in my local band days.
Nice. They're
like, hey, we love God Item. And I played shows with them, but they're like, can you please do some vocals for this video game inspired song? And I was like, of course.
Heck yeah. So that's something online as well?
Yeah. I think that one, oh God, I don't actually remember the name of that one.
Okay. My next question was going to be, hypothetically, if you were going to release something under a different name?
If I was going to release any future music, it probably would be, I've actually been talking about this, and a lot of people probably aren't going to be happy, but like me and my friend Auntie have kind of been working on just straightforward instrumental video game covers. Kind of in that Nintendocore vein where it's very 8-bit synth, very breakdown, very heavy.
You've
more.
You've sold me. How when you said it, I was iffy, but then you immediately sold me on it.
Okay, cool. But yeah, no, that's kind of where we might be leaning if I go into kind of another side project. I do want to finish up God Item stuff first, but you know, the heart wants what it wants.
Sure. Okay. So I think I've asked you about all your music. Have I missed anything?
I mean, if you wanted to talk about Zorldo, okay.
I don't know if you wanted to talk about that or not, but
I'm down talking about Zorldo King.
I know some people knew. I knew who you guys were. Some people I think still did not know. So I didn't know if you wanted to. Has that been posted officially anywhere?
So here's the deal with Zorldo King, the history of King, if you will.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, a lot of people may have seen this floating around the internet. I am the proud owner of the Zorldo and King masks. So the deal with Zorldo King, it was a joke, a troll, if you will, between me and Zach Fravel. We wanted to see if we could make like the shittiest, like just overall dumbest project. And we tried to keep it anonymous so people wouldn't know. So for him, he kind of cut back on his production skills a little bit. We used FL Slayer, at least on the first couple of tracks.
Yeah.
And then I tried to disguise my vocals as much as I could. God Item primarily focuses on my highs with the decorative lows. I just did the opposite when I performed as Zorldo. And I put on like this super cringy white boy voice whenever I would do talking parts as Zorldo. So yeah, the goal was to remain anonymous. It turned out I took a photo of me in the Zorldo mask, and Zach somehow posted it on his personal Instagram. And of course, people in the scene saw that. So they were like, "It's Zach." And then, me and him were just like, "Well, I mean, you're kind of right." And I've never gone out openly and been like, "Hey, I'm Zorldo." So there are a lot of people to this day that think it's a solo project.
Yeah.
It's not.
You definitely, I mean, it was a time. It was a time to be there. If you're listening to this and you don't know what we're talking about, man, you had to be in the scene then because it was good stuff. But I mean, it was several months that I didn't know who it was, or I would bluff and tell people like, "Yeah, of course I know who it is," but I had no fucking idea. And I don't remember when I actually did find out. Like Skyla and I were talking about it. Go Eskimo, for anyone who doesn't know, a few days ago, and I was like, "That was Steven and Zach, right?" And he said, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, that's what I thought." I don't remember like where. I don't know at what point in the timeline I figured it out, but it was good stuff.
Yeah. After a while, once that anonymity kind of dropped, that kind of killed the momentum of the project for me personally. We did a few more tracks for some Nintendocore Libs comps, and the one where I just kind of took the mask off metaphorically and literally was Mirrors, where I just said fuck it and I just did my normal vocals.
And you've played that live as well, right?
I have. Yes, I have. So when I went to Philadelphia to perform for Corey's digital C-release shows, originally I was going to meet with Zach and do his Zorldo King set.
Oh man.
He couldn't attend, unfortunately. So there's a couple of flyers from his first show that list God Item and Zorldo King. But there's also the official modified version, which drops Zorldo King off. But so in lieu of his absence, I decided to do Mirrors live for the second of the two shows. So the truth is out there if you dig.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now it's big time out there.
And I'm definitely out there.
Because this is big time right here. Trust me.
Yeah. Millions of people will know.
Right.
Who the fuck is Zorldo King?
Right. Okay. So to go a little deeper, since the name of the show is Into the Unicorn Hole, do you know about Princess Denki?
Yes, I do know about Princess Denki. Doesn't she
Okay.
live with you?
Well, she does. She's my wife, so yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. At first, we did not know who it was. We thought it was Matt Heltburn.
So hold on. So real quick, for anyone who's has no idea, I'm gonna show the picture of the Zorldo Kang, like where it came from, and then the ones that are left are Princess Denki, right? So okay, all right, they're filled in now. They're filled in now.
Good. No, when we first heard that there was a Princess Denki, we were like, someone's trying to steal our thunder. We thought it was like someone who would commonly troll the group, like Matt Heltburn would do it a lot. So we thought it was him. And then when the actual song came out, it was a Buddy Holly cover. We were just like, oh, that's not Matt Heltburn at all. And it took me a while to figure it out. I think you actually posted and we're just like, ta-da. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. The production was very good, and so yeah, we were just kind of like, oh, like the way back of our mind, like not even an option.
Yeah.
So
well, I think the only thing my wife has done in the scene other than that is like part of some choir vocals on the odd U-Hole song. So yeah, it wasn't something anybody was going to figure out, but we didn't intend for it to be like a long-term thing, but we just thought it'd be funny to take the other parts from Zorldo Kang and yeah. And when
I loved it.
Yeah. It was good stuff. And I have to see if like that account still exists because the DMs she sent, she got into character like big time. And when she turned in the song, she was giving Travis Valois from Are You Afraid of the Dog? She was giving him shit, and just like Princess Denki was a piece of shit. So
okay, Zorldo was trying to be a piece of shit near the beginning too. So
yeah. So she really embraced it there. So that was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
All right. So I've mentioned the live shows a little bit. I think I've seen videos of you with a couple guitarists and then some videos with you by yourself. Is that right?
Yeah.
So it just depends on who's available or.
So when I first started doing the live God Item stuff, I wanted to have as many people with me as possible, only because I would watch those videos of Pete performing in like cafes back from like 2009, 2010, and I would just physically cringe just watching a guy go up there, plug in an iPod and scream.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I need a bit more energy. I need a bit more of that human nature of music. So my friends, Auntie and Jacob Martinez that I mentioned earlier, they were both my guitarists. So we just have backing tracks that we'd perform to that were just drums and synth and then bass, I guess. But yeah, so at first it was the more the merrier. There were a few times where we considered maybe getting a drummer, but it just never really worked out.
Tough.
Yeah. And then after a while, it became more about availability. The last few shows, for example, have been me and Auntie. Jacob Martinez is no longer performing with us. Not necessarily because, there's like a big breakup or anything, but like he's just a bit busier.
Yeah.
And there are videos of me performing solo. I think the only times where that's truly happened were when I left the state, only because I wish I could pack up my bandmates and bring them with me, but not always feasible. So yeah, I have done it that way. I prefer having others with me, but it is what it is.
I get that. Yeah, it takes a lot of balls to get up on stage by yourself. I wouldn't know. I've played a gazillion shows, but I don't think I've ever done one by myself. So even as Unicorn Hole, I get the boys on stage with me. So
gotta have the boys.
Gotta have the boys. Any crazy stories from your shows? How many shows have you played? Would you guess? Is it like double digits, like a bunch, or?
It would be lower double digits, if even that. I think maybe like between 10 to 12 God Item shows. Crazy stories. Nothing too crazy. There's a couple of situations that I think are a bit like peculiar maybe, but so there was a show I played in the Lake Tahoe area, which California, Nevada border. It's like a beautiful lake. I played a show out there in winter. It was super snowy. And I was just feeling kind of like, like a little under the weather, but I was like, I'm not going to back out of a show. I'm already here. So my vocals weren't quite as good as I had hoped. And I was just like kind of beating myself up, a little bit. Everyone does. They're like, oh man, this is not doing very well. The second that the show wraps up, this motherfucker in this goddamn like trench coat looking like a goddamn vampire comes out of the crowd and he's just like, hey man, you really got to work on your vocals.
Oof.
And I was just like, yeah, thanks, man. He was like, yeah, you got to use your diaphragm. And I was like, okay, dude, cool, thanks. So like that was a show where we played with almost entirely like death metal bands. We were the weird band on the bill.
Yeah.
So I was already kind of uneasy and like people in the audience were not feeling it. So that's probably my least favorite show we did.
I could see that.
Fucking vampire man coming up out of the fucking darkness. Blue, your vocals fucking suck.
Okay. All my homies hate that guy.
Fuck. If you are that guy and you're watching, fuck you. Stop going to shows.
Big fuck you. Yeah, you can't go to shows anymore of any band.
Yeah. Fucking Bandhammer.
Yeah.
Another weird one, I played a show with Crash Bomb, which some people in the scene might know Crash Bomb, some people might not. They're from Vacaville, which is a little bit more toward the Bay Area. I'm in Sac, which is kind of like the valley. Great guys, by the way. If they happen to see this, shout out to all of my beautiful Crash Bomb boys. So the fun one with that was we were doing sound check, me and Auntie, and I had tried to drink a little bit before that show because I was feeling kind of nervous. So, you know, we did the vocal warm up, the fucking checking all the levels. And I just go, we hit like the first note of like Mario Party Foul. And I was just like, hey, hold on. And I ran into the bathroom, threw up real quick, and immediately came back out and performed the entire set. So like Mario Party Foul didn't have a vocalist there for,
yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have vocals, but yeah, that was just a fun way to start a set.
Maybe you should do that every time. It sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. Sounds good for the esophagus.
Yeah.
And then the last, I guess, peculiar situation, I performed at SAT Gamers Expo, which is a video game convention, back at the end of 2019. And nothing too crazy, but there was a dude in a full-on Sonic the Hedgehog fursuit, just
nice,
trickle pitting. And that was a good time.
There was a dude in a full Sonic suit at a show that I played. Weird.
The same guy. He just ran over there real quick.
Yeah, to Baltimore. So he's all over. Yeah.
Gotta go fast.
You gotta go fast. I love that lore that it's the same guy. And have you played with Power Glove?
Ooh, so I have not played with Power Glove. I was going to play with Power Glove.
Dude, we both have that in common. We've both announced a show with Power Glove, but then didn't play with them.
So what happened with mine, that was a show where I was going to try to do bassist, guitarist, and drummer.
Oh.
Right before it happened, COVID happened. So, yeah, I have a bunch of pre-order tickets somewhere around here for God Item with Power Glove. And yeah, the show never happened, unfortunately.
Well, that sucks. The next merch I buy, give me one of those tickets. That sounds like a good little piece of history.
I got to see if I can hunt them down.
Okay. I think that if anyone's curious, the BitGen that U-Haul played, Power Glove was supposed to headline, and just for some reason they ended up having to cancel. So if you could play with any lineup of bands, who would you want to play with? Your dream lineup.
My dream lineup?
Yeah.
Any bands?
Ever? We'll keep it to like, Nintendocore adjacent.
Yeah. Cool. So it would be some kind of fest, whether it's a Big Money Cyber Grind Fest or Nintendocore Lives Fest. I'd love to play with as many people from the scene as possible. I've played with Zombie Shark virtually in Hell World. I played with them in Philadelphia a few times. I'd love to play with Zombie Shark again. I'd love to play with Unicorn Hole. If I go back to the East Coast, maybe we can work something out.
You have to if you come by. Yes.
Yes. And then I'd love to do something, Blind Equation would be fun to play with. James is a great guy. Codex would be really fun. I know they're also on the East Coast. Same thing with Macau. Literally anyone in that scene. Ghost House would be fun. I Killed Techno. They're both Texas based, but somehow pick them up and just move them to the East Coast so we can all play together.
Yeah.
Like that'd be dope,
Well, I would want you to come see me, but if you could only go to one place, Philly, there's something in the water there.
I know.
Yeah, all the Nintendocore and Cyber Grind around there is like, it blows my mind.
It radiates.
All right. Yeah.
It's like a virus.
All right. So what are some of your favorite bands today, just in general? What are you
Some of my favorite bands today?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good question. So I am one of those people who I I used to be a bit more active in listening to new music. Now I'm just that guy who listens to the same shit over and over and over. So, I mean, I listen to a lot of like, I guess, I don't know what to call it, emo, pop punk. I do listen to Zombie Shark stuff, Blind Equation stuff when it comes out. I try to keep up on the scene. So, like Thought Crime, I know is coming out with an album soon. And Mikau's album that just came out was really good. If I had to name artists, I'm like going through my phone right now because it's like I listen to the same stuff over and over. I listen to a lot of hardcore stuff still too. So I've been huge into Power Trip again lately.
Okay.
Nails, Twitching Tongues, a lot of that California hardcore. Drain. I don't know if you're familiar with Drain, but
I'm not.
Just a lot of that more like crossover thrash kind of stuff I listen to.
Okay. Cool.
And then a lot of video game OSTs. So probably more than anything else, I listen to a lot of OSTs.
Pass the fucking aux, dude. That's a true nerd right there. Is your homies give you the aux and you put on like some Pokemon OST or whatever.
Get that Omori soundtrack.
Yeah.
Turn it up.
I haven't played that yet. I'm waiting for it to come to Switch.
It's on Switch.
It is on Switch now? Okay. I was waiting. The wait is over. I'll get it soon. Yeah, okay.
It's like a top 5.
What was your path to metal?
I think for me, I got into metal very, very gradually. When I was younger, my dad would always listen to stuff ranging from like Elton John to Green Day to Nirvana to Metallica. And then once I kind of got into middle school, I started getting exposed to kind of heavier music. So I started listening to Linkin Park and Slipknot and Korn, and I was like, this is the sickest shit. And then I actually ended up becoming friends with a couple of like more traditional metalheads in high school. So they introduced me to a lot of death metal, as well as like, I guess more like classic types of metal. Like I listened to a lot of Pantera back in high school. And I got into like Skinless. I still love Skinless. Cattle Decapitation. Same time I got into like Between the Buried and Me and the Dillinger Escape Plan. Just a bunch of those older bands. Yeah, I think that's kind of was just, at first it was, oh yeah, this new metal is so sick. And then I kind of befriended more of those people and they introduced me to more of the heavier stuff.
Good stuff. That very, very similar path for me, probably for a lot of people, to be honest. But yeah, I was going to like say, yeah, for example, like, and then name half the bands you just said. So
yeah.
Yeah. All right. The big question. What are some of you said top 5 Omori. Hit me with a top 5 video games. You don't have to do it in order if that's too hard, but
I have a feeling that you and I are probably going to be similar in this. Just naming a top 5 video games is very difficult because I have like the top 2 solidified, but everything between like 3 to 25, it's just like up in the air. It could be anything. So we'll go from 5 down, make it more exciting.
Okay. All right.
Up anticipation.
This is now a top 5 YouTube channel.
So top 5 God item video games. Number 1, number 5 would probably be God. I'll go with Omori. It's the newest in my top 5. It's a really, really good game. Really good storytelling, really good soundtrack. I can't recommend it enough.
Dark, right?
Very dark. Very, you have to kind of play it to
I'll
understand.
get back to you on that soon. I've been waiting for Switch. I didn't realize it had come out. So
yeah.
All right.
So probably Omori. Number 4 is always hard to decide because it's probably Gen 2 Pokemon, Gold, Silver, Crystal. Everyone always loves the one that they played when they were like 8. That's just the rule of thumb. Your favorite Pokemon game is the one you played when you were 8. For me, it was like Gold and Silver, Crystal. Number 3 is probably Earthbound. Huge into Earthbound. I did play Mother 3 as well as Mother 1 / Earthbound Beginnings. They just didn't stick with me anywhere near as much as Earthbound did. I came at a time in my life where I really needed that kind of game. And yeah, so it's very sentimental. Number 2, this is always where it gets kind of tricky because both of these games are like perfect 10s to me. But for now, number 2 is Yeah, that game's literally the best 3D platformer of all time, bar none. I mean, even with the nostalgia goggles off, I still feel like that game was groundbreaking. Like,
Absolutely holds up. Yeah.
yeah, in every way.
And
And I
I
really
will
wish.
like hard agree that it like just blew Mario 64 out of the water.
Yeah,
Anybody
it
who doesn't agree with that, you're jaded. Like you're
fucking demolishes Super Mario 64, like in every way. I really
and
wish Microsoft would do a remake.
I love Mario 64 and I still say that. The banjo's better in pretty much just every conceivable way. Yeah.
Hard
Dunk
agree.
on it.
And then number one, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Another one of those games that I feel is a perfect 10 to me. I know a lot of people are kind of not huge into the way that game works, but it exposed me at a young age to like a lot of new emotions, things that I didn't know could be experiences in video game settings. Because up until that point, when I was a kid, it was like, oh yeah, Mario goes right, you save Princess, you hit Ryu, like I didn't know that video games could be like that compelling, that deep, that emotional, that dark. So for me, that game has always stood as like the number one, and I'll stand by that forever because it's literally on my body forever. So, and that's also why God Item EP cover is Skull Kid. Favorite game.
That makes sense. All right, second gen Pokemon. I agree. And it wasn't my first. I played first gen as an 8-year-old, but second gen, if I'm not totally bullshitting, is the only one that has 2 regions in it.
Correct. You go back to Kanto.
And the fact that Red is like the true final boss, like your guy from the first game, is like fantastic. So I played up through 5, like the day they came out, bought them and played them, and like waited in line outside of Target or whatever. And still, thinking back now, I think if I had to play a Pokemon game right now, I'd pick up like Soul Silver probably, because just some of the quality of life improvements. But yeah, second gen, I agree with you.
Yeah. No, I played from the first gen onward. I think the only one I skipped out on was 5 at the time because I was not feeling it. But even now it's like 6, 7, 8. And then Legends Arceus came out and fucking blew me away. I love that game. But
I've not played it yet. I've heard a lot of good things though.
Oh, it's so good. I can't wait for the next gen too. I'm thinking Scarlet and Violet are going to be pretty damn good.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I'm all right. All right. If I wanted to get into the weeds, Sword and Shield, I'm one of the people that was a little. I'll say more than a little let down, but
understandable. I think the game is pretty ugly. The amount of effort put in was pretty low, but a low effort Pokemon game is still a Pokemon game. So yeah. I still enjoyed it.
I voted with my wallet and didn't buy it, but of course it's like the best selling Pokemon game. So what good did that do? But like, I just think next to Breath of the Wild, which I think did amazing things for Zelda, and then Ultimate with its 90 whatever characters, and then Mario Kart 8, like you mentioned, has a ton of content. And then I'm not really a Fire Emblem guy, but Three Houses, I think, pushed the series forward. And so for all that to be happening at once, and then Pokemon's like, hey, we're cutting some Pokemon this time. It's like, not a good look. Yeah.
No, I agree. Switch is doing a lot of good stuff for a lot of Nintendo IPs. But for some reason, Pokemon companies just like, we could literally put out stick figures and you idiots would buy it.
I know. And
I'd be like, yes.
It's the hardest one to accept because pretty sure Pokemon is, I'm not saying anything groundbreaking here, but it's the most successful IP like ever, like more than Mickey Mouse and whatever Marvel and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just like, dude, hire like 10 people to just spend all day, every day making the game look better and like, make the cutscenes look prettier. Like,
legendary Sword and Shield tree.
Yeah. The Ocarina of Time copy paste tree. Yeah. Yep. You said Earthbound. That's a favorite of mine. I'll come clean though. I only beat Earthbound for the first time last year. I played it back like in college. I played it some and I got stuck on something weird. Like you had to give an NPC a certain item, but it had to be in the right inventory. And it took me like a couple hours to realize that. And at that point I was kind of like burnt out. And I think some new game had come out. And so I ended up moving on. But when I went back and beat it, I was like, damn, that's a fucking amazing game. So did you beat it as a kid?
So that one I started playing in high school, very early in high school. I think my freshman year. So that's kind of why I think I needed it, just because a lot of the themes in that game and just like that coming of age sort of tale that Ness goes through. Yeah, that's kind of when I got into it. Luckily, I'm glad I didn't get into it as a kid because I probably would have been very confused. Probably wouldn't have appreciated it as much.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I did beat it in high school. It was kind of going in blind. It was before I really had access to walkthroughs and things like that. I mean, I could look up like text walkthroughs on game FAQs or whatever, but not quite as easy as it is nowadays to be like, I'm stuck. Where do I go? And then a video shows them.
Right. Yeah. I think that we talked about earlier that you turned out as a hero instead of a villain. I think maybe if you had experienced Gygus in your single digit age, that might not have turned out that way.
Would have snapped. Something would have snapped.
Yeah. Literally, my wife and I both had a nightmare that night. It's not like we were like scared playing the Super Nintendo, but we woke up and I was like, I had a nightmare. She's like, I did too. What the fuck? Was not expecting that game to affect an adult that way, but it did some work.
Definitely.
And then I noticed your top 5 is largely dark games, so I think that speaks to how good Banjo-Kazooie is, that it still makes it to number 2, being like a whimsical, light, fun game with a silly soundtrack.
It's the palate cleanser. It's like I love dark stuff. The sky is dark. My music is dark.
That's right.
But yeah, I've always been a fan of like horror movies and heavy music and darker video games. But there's something about Banjo-Kazooie that's so whimsical and colorful and playful. It's like, it just feels like pure bliss. Serotonin injected directly into my eye holes. Yeah.
Big agree. And then what's your take on Tooie?
Tooie? Yeah. So I actually love Banjo-Tooie. But I would say that it's nowhere near my top 20 favorite games. I would probably say that Tooie did a lot of things right, but it did a lot of things wrong. If I had to do like a quick, rating, Banjo-Kazooie is a 10 out of 10. Tooie's like a 9 out of 10. Backtracking kills it. Like going back and playing it now, I'm just like, I don't want to play this. But really good music, really good graphics. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
It's man, if Metroid games did what Tooie did and Samus kept all of her moves but got a new set every time, then by now each button would do like 16 things.
Right. End up with the weird combinations of like hold Z and C up and then press R.
Yeah. Plug in your USB steering wheel for this one.
Be sick.
Right, so, you're a collector, obviously, like me. Yay. Do you have like a prized possession or a few?
So weird thing about my collection is there's quite a bit of it. Some of it's being cut off, but when it comes to prized possessions, I actually don't have anything that's too crazy in value. I used to have a copy of Sculptor's Cut, Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut on N64. Don't anymore. Long story. It is gone. Sometimes people need money.
Okay. I was afraid it got destroyed or something. So.
Oh no, luckily no. But I think if I had to say any prized possessions, I'd probably go with I'll just grab them right here. The new Nintendo 3DS XL Majora's Mask.
Yes.
I remember I copped that real quick because those sold out within a couple of minutes when they went live back in the day. And I happened to like see the link right as they went live. So I was like, oh, okay. Bought.
Casually.
Yep. I would say for some reason Earthbound, when I got it, it was not as coveted and as expensive as it is now. But it turns out it's probably one of my most expensive games. Yeah, I mean, other than that, there's nothing in particular. It's just a lot of games. For a long time, I would try to only have games on my shelf if I had actually touched them for more than like an hour. After a while, that becomes unrealistic. So there's a lot of games that I own that I haven't touched.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just like the whole collection, if I can say that.
Yeah.
As a whole, the whole thing's a prized possession.
No, I get that. I definitely get that. It's just, everything you add to it, even if it's, I don't know, a game that's like not expensive or you don't have childhood memories of it, but if you play it for a little bit and find a couple little quirks about it that you like, it still just, adds to the whole.
Exactly.
Do you have a white whale, something that you're looking for that you haven't been able to get yet?
I like weirder things from like the early 80s, like the early Nintendo days.
Okay.
So any type of figures or like signage or anything of Mario before he was like attractive,
Yeah.
or Donkey
Okay.
Kong before he got the remake, like from Donkey Kong Country, that design.
Mhm.
That older stuff is super cool to me. Like I have a box copy of Atari 2600 DK over here, which is the
Nice.
biggest steaming pile of shit. But like, there's just something about like that earlier Nintendo stuff that I really like. So anything like that. I think if I had to get something else though, not really a white whale, but I really want to get just like another N64, whether it's one that's HD modded, the Ultra HD mods, or just one that's not the basic black model that I've had forever. I'd love to get one of those Pikachu ones.
Oh yeah.
But it's like, do I really want to drop that much for a console I already own? You know?
Yeah. Resident Evil 4 is my favorite game ever, weirdly. All the rest of like my top 20 is Nintendo games, like made by Nintendo, but somehow Resident Evil 4 just stole it. But there's a Resident Evil 4 GameCube, but it's literally just a silver GameCube, and the black circle on the top has the logo in it, and that's it.
You got to get that RE4 chainsaw controller.
I know, it's that's on my list for sure.
I think it's so sick. You can play Mario Kart Double Dash with it.
Show up at your Smash tournament with that, holding it so that it's like pushing the other guy's arm and stuff. I don't know. I don't know when they would kick you out, but see how far you can go.
Threatening. Yeah. There's a video out there of a guy in like a Melee tournament. I think it's Melee, where he's literally just screaming in a dude's ear when he starts like getting comboed.
Yeah, because it's not. He's the ice climbers. The what do you call it?
He starts getting wobbled.
Yeah. Classy stuff. All right, Pokemon are real. Which 6 do you have?
Who? Oh, Pokemon real. Which 6 do I have? It was worded oddly.
I just threw it at you. Yeah. I don't want to say like what's the 6 in your team. Like I don't want you to overthink it. Just who are the 6 you would want? You know.
So if they were real, I'd have to be realistic because I feel like I wouldn't be cool enough to have like the super cool pseudo legendary team. I'm just like a normal person. So like, if I had to keep it realistic, I'd want a Torchic. Blaziken is one of my favorite Pokemon, but I don't feel like I would have it leveled up enough. So like a pet Torchic would be cool. Another one of my favorites, like Perugly.
Okay.
A lot of people hate Perugly, but that's a very realistic one to have as well. I think it'd be cool to have one of the darker ones. I don't want to say Gengar because that just sounds like I'd hate to have a Gengar in my house.
Well, all right. We'll add some rules. They like you.
Okay, they like me.
Yeah, they like you at least, and you can tell them not to,
not to creep,
destroy other people, and stuff like that. Right.
Oh, okay. So in that case,
totally I'll add Gengar.
I'll add a Haunter.
Okay.
Only because I feel like it'd be cool to have them floating around.
All right, and you know what? One legendary, if you want.
One legendary.
Not required.
Am I at 3 or 4? Anyway.
3.
All right. So then I would probably want to add, let's see. I kind of like, a lot of people hate this Pokemon, but I think it'd be cool to have a Hypno.
Okay. You definitely need the no creeping rule to have a Hypno.
End up getting lured into the woods. Who else? God, there's so many. It's like 900.
Got 2 left, including a legendary if you want one. Well, pick a legendary to make the selection easier.
Okay, let's go with, I'll keep it basic. I'll go with like Jirachi as my legendary.
That would be my pick.
Yeah, very cute. Very not going to destroy my house by being in it. Having a Groudon or something in my house and just like destroy it. Can't really have like a dog house where you keep a Groudon. And then last would probably be something like a Slowpoke.
Okay.
I like Slowpoke.
He's chill. That seems like a low impact choice there.
Yes.
All right, a couple random questions and then we'll wrap up. Do you have any pets?
I do. So I have a dachshund, a weenie dog. His name is Oscar. He's a senior. He's pretty old. He may or may not be on the artwork for my upcoming EP whenever that finally comes out. So I do post him all over my social medias. So he is my boy. I love him.
Oscar's good. Confirmed.
Yeah. Mr. Oscar.
All right. I always have to ask people this as well. No criticism, no matter how you answer. Do you believe in ghosts or cryptids or aliens or any of that good stuff? And do you have any personal stories about any of it?
First of all, I'm so glad you asked that because I love cryptozoology. I think it's the sickest shit. I own like 4 different Mothman shirts.
Nice.
I have a Bigfoot metal sign in my house, which is very much a bachelor pad thing to do. Yeah, I love cryptids. Do I think ghosts and cryptids are real? No, I don't, because for me, seeing is believing. I would love to see a ghost. I've been that stupid teenager who's tried to do, seances and stuff at friends' houses and fucked around with Ouija boards. Nothing's ever happened. So like, until I see it personally, I won't believe it, but I'd love to be proven wrong.
Okay. So no personal unexplained anythings of any flavor?
No, which is unfortunate because I kind of live in the middle of nowhere. So it's like prime opportunity for like a Wendigo to come out behind my house and just creep, or like a skin crawler to just be like, "Hey, what's up, Steven?"
Yeah.
But no, never happens.
All right. Well, if something happens, report back. We'll put an update.
Hell yeah.
All right. Okay. So what does you kind of just hinted at this. What does the future look like for God Item?
So the future, as it has been for the last few years, is probably going to be pretty slow. Unfortunately, between, mental health, physical health, financial health, doing this stuff can be kind of time consuming. But I am working on an EP. It was going to be a split, then it was going to be a sister EP. Now it's probably just going to be a standalone EP. And that has about 4 or 5 tracks that are going to be on it, which doesn't sound like a lot. But when it comes to God Item, that's almost double my discography. So just you wait. A couple of those tracks have been played live. I think 2 of them were done on the Hell World set, if you happen to watch it on YouTube.
Got the DVD.
I am the DVD. Holy shit, the DVD. Right. But so there's that EP. I do want to do a Pokemaniac Part 2, more gold and silver inspired. And then I do have a couple of other ideas floating around, but will they actually come to fruition? Tune in next week to find out, Yeah.
Story of my life. Story of probably every bedroom artist's life. All right. Well, I will open the floor up to you if you want to promote anything or call out anybody or anything like that. I said call out. Probably should say shout out, but if you want to call someone out, you can fucking do that too.
You fucking know what? I mean, right now, just plug in my music as always. The same tracks have been there for years, but if you haven't heard them yet, goditem.bandcamp.com, or you can look me up on Spotify. You can laugh at the amount of monthly listeners I have, and then you can maybe play a track so you can help me get that number a bit higher. But yeah, you can find me Spotify, Bandcamp. I am on all the social medias, but they're actually just kind of my personal accounts because I don't really promote God Item that much. But I still love interacting with fans and other people in the scene, so I kind of use it as both. Shout out to literally everyone involved in a Big Money Cyber Grind. That scene is popping, and I love to see it. Whether or not I'm actually actively putting music out, it feels really good to see, friends and other inspirational people thriving. Everyone who's left over from the Nintendocore scene from back when I started, I know a lot of acts have kind of fizzled out. So, Unicorn Hole, obviously, shout out to you for even having me on. Love to go down the Unicorn Hole. It was a good time. I didn't even hurt myself. But
hurt yourself. I'll have to try harder next time.
Shout out to Moonside /Zach /Kang. Still love you. Zombie Shark. Shout out to you. Blind Equation. I Killed Techno is the homie. Ghost House is killing it. Yes. There's so many people. I know I'm going to forget people. Anyone I've ever worked with, Shotgun Guy, Oh the Horror. I don't know. It's been wonderful being able to kind of be in control of my own musical destiny, and anyone involved with it, even just by communication, you rule.
Nice. Well, thank you very much for coming on. And yeah, as he said, if you haven't checked out his stuff, or if you have, do it again. God Item. He's, like he said, Bandcamp, Spotify. I'll put links down in the description. Check that stuff out. No merch currently, right?
Not yet, but that could change in the future, especially if that EP comes to fruition.
Awesome. And I am looking forward to that. And thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching till the end. You're a true homie. Let the guests know how rad they were. Go support them. I have lots of other Nintendocore videos on this channel, so look around if you haven't. You can check out my music here or anywhere else where music lives. I'm on Patreon and will die of happiness if you support me. You'd get exclusive music, update videos, we can hang on Discord and play Smash together. It's a good time. Thanks again. You're the best. Bye!